This is Tim Haston. I'm doing the screencast using Screencast-O-Matic for the Library of Congress, the Vets homepage. Um, so, in light that we're just a couple weeks from Veterans Day, I thought this would be a cool place to highlight. So, a couple real quick things from this is a landing page here. So /vets/vets home.html. If you want to search for anything right here in these pages, you could simply type it here. And then you have a Veterans Field Kit Companion video. So you can watch that video here. Um, on this right column here, it kind of gives an overview of some of the features they have. I believe, I'd have to check in this a little bit more often, but I believe that this top one is either a series or maybe this is something that will scroll through week by week because it's a podcast called We Were Pirates. If I click on it, it takes me to this place right here where it's talking about a podcast of a Torpedo Man's Pacific War experience. If I go down further, it doesn't really have any other podcastings from the same person. So I'm curious as if whether this is a series or if it's something that just rotates, or if it's always a podcast. I'm not exactly sure. Right here we have the volunteer spotlight, where it shows different people who've done different things, and you could hit this and view additional volunteers as to how they have helped out with the veterans. Okay, so they have a whole collections thing where basically with the collections they are getting paraphernalia from people to show about certain wars, and I'm going to show you guys a really cool feature here in a few minutes here. But so this gives you information on how we can use the collections for research, and they even give you options to uh, get in contact with them and have help with research. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature that they have contact info so you can actually get some expert advice in that manner. You also have your staff favorites, so whoever's working at the people working with this exact material is saying what they think's best. I always think that's a good feature so that you can get the you won't miss things. I think a lot of times people will look at things that just interest them, and they'll miss out because they don't look into the ones that are quite as robust, that might not have as flashy of a title. It has a featured book here, so I think this whole section right here, I think that it might be a scrolling thing. They have donations available. I always like these RSS feeds, which would make sense. If this was an RSS feed, it makes sense that every time they update this, it would give you a update in your RSS feed. So that's this area over here, just a brief overview of it. And on the left hand side you have the mission statement about the project, the mission statement. And so the Veterans History Project of the American Folklife Center collects, preserves, and makes accessible the personal accounts of American war veterans so that future generations may hear directly from veterans and better understand the realities of war. Stories can be told through personal narratives. Okay, so that's audio or videotape interviews as well as written memoirs, correspondence, photographs, drawing, and scrapbooks. And it has paraphernalia from these wars. So from World War I, looks like the earliest one, which would make sense because it's probably difficult to get these items from things older than that, just due to the fact that those people, the grandchildren of those people, are already passed on. So it also gives you information on how this project started. So how to participate, how can you help out? So if somebody had, my grandfather was in World War II in Pearl Harbor. We're hoping to get some of his stuff so we could kind of have a better understanding of what he went through. So if I wanted to, I could, if I got my hands on some of that stuff, I could use this online form to maybe, you know, pitch in and participate to these things. So you have 5 easy steps: register, you could print the history field kit, prepare for an interview, conduct the interview, and send that collection. So when my grandfather was alive, he didn't talk about the war much, but if I could get him to, I could actually have him be presented in this. So that's kind of a cool thing. Frequently asked questions. There's a lot of repetition when you come here because, you know, sometimes people ask questions that they could have answered just by reading the sections. Like, what is a Veterans History Project? They would have just read the mission statement, they would have known. But still, you do have quite a bit. And if we focus in, I thought this was kind of cool. If we focus in right here, Ken Burns, we had that assignment in the videography class about Ken Burns. So I thought this interesting that right here we have a selection talking about Ken Burns. So PBS announced a joint community engagement, first-hand recollections of diverse men and women during wartime, and this is Ken Burns' new film, The War. So I thought that was pretty cool that you know, we're finding those. So participation, interviewing veterans. If you're a veteran, if you want to be interviewed, how can I interview? So all those things are listed here. Very neat because a lot of my students today don't understand why we have to respect the flag salute or the, you know, Star Spangled Banner. And especially with Veterans Day coming up, this is something that could be a very powerful tool to help us understand that. So then you have the news and events section here. And in the news and events section, just different things that's dealing with veterans. 70th anniversary of Pearl Harbor, so that'd be something I'd want to look into because, like I said, my grandfather was there. Um, Obviously, that would have been last year's, being that it's 1941. And this is just a very, very nice, nice thing. So, oh, I did not get to this. I don't know how I've skipped it. But search the Veterans Collection. This is actually probably one of my favorite areas of this site because you could have your search, your browse, or your help. So if you wanted to search for something, let's say so War in the Pacific. I'm not sure if this is going to hit anything. It did not. My guess is more about the names of people, but if you could search something here, you're limited by the branches, by the war, whether it's a prisoner of war. Yes, this definitely seems like it's much more about the people. But if you hit the browse, yeah, last name. So if I go H for Haston, I know my grandfather's not there, but, you know, just for fun, let's look at there. So you have all these people here. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get there. So I went ahead and just searched the last name Haston, and there's only one. Sergeant First Class in the Air Force in World War II. So I'm guessing, well, no, I don't believe that's any relative of mine. But so it's very cool that we could do that. So this is just a very powerful page. Nice little landing spot here with the RSS feed, featured interviews, all these things. So this is definitely something that I think would be very powerful teaching Veterans Day, Memorial Day, even Pearl Harbor, or, you know, I even like making sure I do September 11th things, but we could talk about those American battles and such, and even talk about, you know, points of view and perspective. I'd like to talk to my students about, you know, what would the World War II be like for the Japanese? How would they see it differently than us, and those sorts of things. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and knock this off. It's almost at 10 minutes, so hope you enjoyed.